All right, hello and welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here today for our app tutorial series, part of an ongoing Revize series of webinars. And today we're going to be covering our new Agenda Manager app. So some brief housekeeping, it's the same as always, but we have to go through it just to make sure we're all on the same page. There's going to be a recorded version of the webinar on our site after. We'll link that later on. And there's also going to be a Q&A. So any questions that may come about while we're going through this webinar, feel free to jot them down. We're going to have a designated time at the end, and we ask kindly that you please hold all questions till the end during that designated slot, just because it can kind of be distracting to the speakers, unless of course it's a tech issue, then of course let us know. And lastly, the best way to keep up with us is to follow us on social media for upcoming webinars and topics about virtual events. We'll also have that link towards the end as well. So a little bit about us before we get started. Revize has been in the business of government websites for over 20 years, and we have an extremely experienced and diverse team of employees. We specialize in creating beautiful, accessible, and responsive government websites for municipalities all across the US. And although we're headquartered in Troy, that doesn't stop us. We serve government agencies all over. And your hosts today are me, Dani Esterline, Marketing Specialist at Revize, same as always. And I have the pleasure of being joined with me, Special Projects Manager, Thomas Jean. He's going to go in a little bit of the app more in depth because he's been a part of the project and cultivating this high demand app. But before that, I just want to go into some key features that's going to be really useful for local governments and understanding what this app is and how it can be useful for them. So essentially, you can have multiple boards and commissions able to update information within this Agenda Manager app. You can be allowed to add information along with attachments, things like photos and other sorts of topic summaries, which Thomas will get into later on. There's an export to PDF function, which makes things really simple and organized. And finally, constituents can subscribe to these finalized meetings so they can stay in the know and updated about the information that they want to be updated on. And I'm going to hand it over to Thomas so that he can go into a little bit more in depth of the tutorial on how to actually use this new app.
Thank you, Dani. And can we see my screen okay? Should be the app.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, great. Great. Well, thank you for the intro. And some of you on the webinar now, I know you, so welcome. And some of you I don't know. So my name is Thomas Jean. I am a kind of project manager here with Revize, and I work with a lot of our clients on setting up their websites and also integrating some of these kind of offshoot apps. And so we built this agenda builder really because of such a high demand from our clients. A lot of our clients came to us with systems they had before that they didn't quite like, or they were coming from a situation where they were just creating PDFs. So we decided to go ahead and build one. And we took our time building it and really got a good sense of what our clients wanted. Keep in mind, we're always improving this and plan to continue to improve it as long as we're using it, of course. So what you're looking at here, this is kind of what the public would see in terms of the meetings that are either upcoming or past. In this case, we do display past meetings, but we don't have to. So in your version, we can display them, just currently going forward. So you'll see like we've got a commissioner's agenda, we've got a regular village council agenda, and we've got a work session agenda. Each of them have a date of that meeting, of course. And if you want to view the agenda, you would just click view. And this is how we've styled this particular agenda. However, we can make styling adjustments to make it look more like your agenda, for example. And of course, all of your topics will be specific to what you need. Keep in mind also, we can incorporate this into your current website with Revize, or even if you have a non-Revize website. Obviously, we'd love it if you did have a Revize website, but that's not necessary with this app. If you did have a revised website, we would likely incorporate the agendas directly into our calendar system, which is really nice and also upgraded, which allows you to search for meetings. It allows you to have different sub calendars here that have their own individual meetings, and it's also searchable. So say I'm searching for this Board of Supervisors agenda here. I'll just type in the word board in this case into the search and kind of narrow down some things without the word board in it. But then if I clicked it, we would see the meeting pop up, and we would actually put either the link to the agenda or the text of the agenda directly in here as well. In this case, it also has an interactive map here showing us the location of that meeting. So back to the app itself. So the public would be able to view these agendas after you've allowed them to go public. But what's really nice about this system is you can always create new agendas, and it's very quick and very easy. So what would happen is if you wanted to create a new meeting, you would just click this meetings tab. Now there is a login and a username and a password that you would need. And of course we would set you up with that. So it's very simple login. And then to create a new meeting, of course you would click create new meeting. You would name it. So in this case, we might name it Village Board Meeting. And you can put a subtitle. In this case, I may call it like a work session, or I may call it like a 2023 goals work session. You can then select the date. We'll go ahead and make this one July 7th. You can do a time, of course. We'll do it at 4 p.m. You can do an end time. You don't have to. In this case, we will. We'll make it 6 p.m. And then you can assign it a group. Now I'll come back to this in a little more detail here in a second, but when you assign it a group, what this is doing is it's designating who is going to be updated both when you create this agenda and then also when it's finalized. So folks from the public can actually subscribe to different groups, and they can get an email notification when a new agenda is posted. It also, when we create this agenda, will notify people on your team that they need to maybe add their piece to the agenda. So maybe you have a director or a department head that always gives a report on something during this particular meeting. They would be designated in this group, and they would receive a notification when you created this agenda that it's time to add their piece. Now from there, you've got a couple of options. One is you can choose an agenda template to use, or you can create your agenda from scratch right here. Almost all of the time, I would guess that you're going to choose a template. And what's nice about this is you can always add and modify these. So in this case, I'm just going to choose this library board meeting template because I know it's pretty close to what I want here. Actually, in this case, I picked the wrong one. Maybe I'll pick village board regular council meeting. We'll do this one instead. Okay, so up here, what we would do is, this is kind of your intro. I just have some random text in there. So instead of just that random text, I may put village board meeting, and you would likely have this actually already in your template, so you wouldn't have to rewrite that. So I'll do village board meeting, and I may say that it's going to be at the address 123 Main Street. And then maybe here we put in the link to our Zoom link if we want to. So to add a Zoom link or to add any link to anything, you would just highlight the text there. You would click this chain link icon, and then you would just put in a URL to your Zoom if you wanted to. In this case, I'll just do google.com, but you kind of get the idea. And now that's linked right there. Also, if you do have a YouTube channel, you could just link your YouTube there, and it will always go there every time. So you would never have to change that. Now, then what's really nice is the topics that we've added in previously are already there for us to modify. So for example, meeting call to order. You're probably never going to switch that one. You'll just leave that there. Maybe you do an invocation, probably keep that one there as well. Maybe previously you did a report from the department director here, but instead you actually want to switch it around in the order of it with this special presentation. So what I'm going to do is, what's really nice is it's fully drag and drop. So you can just move that above or below one another. So you can rearrange things. You could also get rid of it entirely. So maybe your department director says, hey, I've got nothing to contribute to this month. You can actually just go ahead and delete that topic right away. Also, what's really nice is in here, you can put a full description of what you're doing. So in this case, let me write something like special presentation. Let's try to spell it correctly, huh? Special presentation from board director Smith. Capitalize it too. And of course, in here, you've got a bunch of styling options as well. You can create links, you can center it, you can make it bold, you can make it a big header if you want to. That may be too big for my liking, so I'll go back down to normal. Then what's really nice is you can upload files. So say Board Director Smith here wants to provide a document or provide a like a one-page PDF about the goals that they plan for 2023. They just click upload. They would add their file from wherever they have it, and then they can put in a description. In this case, I'll just type in 2023 goals PDF and click submit. And now it's attached there. Now, then maybe I want to finish it off just by adding another topic real quick. And maybe this will just be closing comments from the board. In this case, because I don't really have anything topic specific to put in there, I think I'm good there. And actually, maybe what I'll do is add one more that is a copy of that, but instead we'll do public comment. We always want to have some comments from the public. So in here, what I would do is maybe add some text saying, please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. Now from here, everything I've done is not saved. So you may want to save it as you go. In my case, I think we're fine just waiting to the end and clicking save. So when I've clicked save right now, that is now saved that agenda for July 7th. Now the public would not see it unless it's active. I actually already set it to be active right away, but it does not have to be. You can also finalize it. Now, when you finalize it, this is what determines whether someone gets updated that has subscribed. So if I come in here to finalize the meeting, those email updates go out to the public based on me finalizing that. So I would, as an administrator, I'd come in here and change it from no to yes, and that would finalize it. What that also does is it means contributors to the agenda can no longer contribute. Now, you as an administrator or a super user, you would still be able to make changes, but you probably want to avoid it once you finalize it, just simply because you maybe don't want to switch it up on folks that have gotten a notification. So if we go back to the meetings, we can see exactly what that work session, goals work session looks like simply by clicking view. And there's the agenda that we just created right there. Right now, what we're doing with any PDFs or any attachments is we got them as a big green button here. And when you click it, it'll either download that PDF or it can actually take you to a separate page that opens the PDF directly for you. In this case, it just downloaded it for me. So that's what it would look like. Keep in mind, any of these single agendas can be embedded into any page of your website. They can be linked to, and they can also be added to that calendar that I showed you earlier. Okay, so real quick over to templates. This is where you would create those templates that you can reuse over and over again. So we use that village board regular meeting template, and I want to make some changes to it because I know like in the future, I'm going to want some additions to it. And actually we used the county commission agenda or the county commission work session agenda template before. So maybe, for example, we are now changing our meeting time from 7:30 to 7. If we now save that, that will always say 7 for us right off the bat, so we won't have to change it. And maybe I don't really want to list the actual date here because it's already listed elsewhere on the site, so I just want to get rid of that. And then maybe I want to add the location of the meeting. So 123 Main Street. So now if we come in here and we save it, and we click Save Template, template updated successfully, and now this will be the beginning of every agenda that we use with this template in the future. Same with the topics. You can remove, add topics. For example, if we decide the village president is no longer going to give a report every month and maybe it's only quarterly, maybe we go ahead and delete that out of our topics. Or maybe we thought we were going to have a report from a new committee, but we decided to dissolve that committee before it ever got started. We delete that. So you've got a lot of options here. You can also have different like bulleted lists, numbered lists. You can indent, you can highlight things, the whole 9 yards. You can even add tables in here. So if it's a real complex like diagram or something you want to add in table-wise, you can add in tables too, which is really nice. So as I mentioned, we're always improving this and looking for kind of feedback on it as well. Moving over real quick to groups. These are the groups that folks could sign up for. And when they sign up for them, they would see any meetings that are like posted publicly in those groups. In this particular group, I have none, but in the others, I would. In terms of what that actually looks like, let me go to public subscriptions here. So right now we've got 2 people subscribed, or 1 person subscribed, and it is me, and I'm subscribed to both of these groups. So as a person, you know, a resident or member of the public, I will get notified anytime a new agenda is finalized and posted, and I'll get notified via email. Now we do require that they confirm, so you can't just come in here and throw a bunch of people's emails in there without them confirming. They will get a notification asking them to confirm, and as soon as they do, this will change from no to yes. You can also come in here and manually unsubscribe folks. And then of course, every email that they get, there's always going to be a link in that email allowing them to unsubscribe themselves. Also, right now we're allowing for unlimited users. So this initial kind of launch of the system, we are going to allow for unlimited users. That may change in the future, but to start with, we are going to allow unlimited. And here is where you add those users. We'll of course add them for you initially and then teach you how to modify them in the future. And then as you can see, each user has a role, and the role determines what they can do. So super user in this case, they can do everything that we've shown you today. An admin can do everything except they can't like create or delete users. Also, I believe they cannot delete a meeting. And then a user is just a contributor. So they would just be able to contribute their piece. They can't change other topics or can't delete other topics. They would just be able to contribute their PDF or their report to the system. Also unlimited templates. So you can have as many templates as you want and reuse them over and over again. And during the initial kind of setup, when we do these, we'll create some of these for you. And if you send us a version of your agenda, we will try to get it as close as we possibly can to fitting what you already have, whether it's a PDF or whether it's another system. We can't guarantee that it will be exactly the same style and layout, but we'll get it very, very close. And overall, we think this is going to be a much better system for most folks out there that are either using another system that they feel is maybe a little old and clunky, or just using you know, PDFs or Microsoft Word or something like that. So I know that's an abbreviated kind of run through here. What you can do in the future is you can contact us and we can go through this in much more depth. But I do want to go ahead and stop there and be respectful of all your time and open it up for any questions that you might have.
So thanks, Thomas. That was a really great explanation, sort of brief overview. I just want to make note of the QR code that's on the screen right now gives you links to or our link tree to how to contact us and all of our social media, our websites, our past and present webinars as well. And so we'll open up the floor for a Q&A if anybody has any questions. All right, so Thomas, I'm going to read these and then we'll answer them together. I'll let you handle some of them. But how do you subscribe to an agenda? If you want to go over that quickly, Thomas.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I thought it was muted. Yeah, so basically, I'll go ahead and share my screen, if that's okay. One second. Yeah, so to subscribe to an agenda, The resident would just click go to subscriptions here. And again, we can change what that looks like. They would then just type in their email. They would hit subscribe. So I'll type in my alternate email, my alter ego email. They would then hit subscribe, and then it would take them to a list of groups that they could add. And then they would add it, and it would send them a email to verify that they do in fact want to be in those groups. Yep.
All right, thanks. The next question, Thomas, is can you print the agenda from this app, and would it print or save to PDF?
Yes, you can print it, and I of course pulled up the wrong example here, but yeah, you can print it. You just click print, and it'll first show you a print preview, and within here, and I'm actually not connected to this printer, so it'll take a second. In here, it will allow for a export to PDF option as well, and it'll look basically the exact same as we see it on the screen here. And sorry, my computer is wonking out now because it's thinking I'm trying to connect to this printer and it's not going to let me. So sorry about that.
So the next questions kind of combine together, so I'll just ask them together. What is the cost of this app, and is this automatically added to our current Revize site, or is there a process or cost to add this app?
Yeah, so there is a cost to it at this time. It is going to be competitive, and here is the print version of it. It is going to be competitive, and it's going to be based on each client. So it's not automatically added to really any of our client sites yet, because we just launched it, but we're super excited to launch it and add it to our client sites. And you would contact us for pricing. I will say initially, we are going to be more than competitive pricing wise with everything else out there, because we do want this to get out and spread the word. So I would say probably the earlier you contact us to get started, the better. And we can get you pricing very quickly if you contact us. So.
Okay, awesome. Izetta asks, when you delete an item from the template when creating an agenda, does it just delete that from the agenda or from the template?
If you have created an agenda or created a meeting and attached that template to the agenda, but maybe it's not finalized yet, and then you go to the template and say you go to the template and you were to delete the public comment option, that would only delete it from the template. It would not delete it from here. So you wouldn't be, destroying any agendas you've already started, so to speak. And I shouldn't even say destroying, because even if that were the case, you could come back and add it back. But yeah, any agenda that you've already started, changing the template does not matter once you've started that agenda.
And then to add on to that, can a super user make corrections to submissions from other staff members? And can you upload a Word doc?
Quick answers to both are yes. And that's kind of the designation of the super user. Super users can make changes once you've kind of finalized the agenda and even before that, and then regular users can't. So they can only contribute and then can't change anything else. You can both contribute as a super user and change something that someone else has contributed.
Awesome. All right, I think there's a few questions in the chat going on. Okay, Steve Ewing asks, can I upload my current request for agenda list from Outlook to the Revize app?
For agenda list from Outlook to the Revize app. I'm a little confused on maybe what you mean, but I'm guessing maybe users have already subscribed to a system you're already using via email. The answer is yes, you can add their emails into the system. They will still have to verify, so they'll get a verification email. And that is only to protect your deliverable rate. Because a lot of these automated email systems, if you get marked as spam too much, that is a no-no, and that can affect your future reliability of emails. So they do have to verify, but yeah, you can add them in yourself if you'd like. And we can assist you with that during the setup too.
All right, we'll have room for a couple more questions if there is any. If not, we did a pretty good job, or Thomas did a pretty good job. Okay. So Valerie says, looking at this agenda, it does not renumeralize A, B, C, D. Nothing is an A, but it didn't recalc.
Yep, I see what you're seeing too. That is intentional, but I get where the confusion could be. So we can change that to where A like starts below this one. In this case, we just had it start at the beginning, but we can make it push down one if you prefer.
Okay, Shannon asks, would this replace the current agenda center?
It would not replace it, but it could. Or you can basically you can choose. You can use one or the other or both. So basically, the agenda center is essentially kind of a listing of your current or upcoming agendas. So here's one for the city of Des Moines, Iowa. So think of this as essentially just links to those agendas. So either what we could do is get rid of this entirely and just move you into kind of the agenda list that's already here, which this is kind of what we would consider the agenda list. Or what you can do is have these links right here instead. So when they clicked agenda, instead of going to a PDF, it would go to, got too many tabs open. It would go to the agenda there directly. But it's up to you. We'll configure it kind of how you prefer.
So I think Valerie just asked if we can provide an active website using this. You can interject if I'm incorrect, Thomas, but since it's such a new app, I don't believe we have an active client on it quite yet. But that's kind of the idea of doing this webinar and explaining some of the functionalities so that we can hopefully get the word out, because it is a high demand app that's been requested in the past.
Yeah, that's correct. We don't have anyone actively using it. We do have some that are signed up and we're configuring them right now. So it will be soon. But the good news with this is that because we're wanting to get it out widespread and you're early on, like I said earlier, the pricing we're going to make really competitive. And we're also going to take your feedback for tweaks on this thing in a very quick fashion. So if we think it's a good change that you're requesting, we're going to be very nimble in making the tweaks to kind of fit the needs of the users out there. So quick answer is no.
And Izetta asks if we can post videos to it as well, YouTube.
Yes, you can embed video. There's a couple ways to do it, and there may be I may suggest a different way to do it rather than posting it directly in the agenda. For example, like at the top of your agenda list, we can do a feed that always has your most recent video, depending on what source it's coming from. So there's a couple ways to do it, but yeah, quick answer to that question is yes, you could put a video directly in the agenda specifically, but folks might get a little, they might not love it in the print version because they'll get a big like window of a potential video. So, but we could probably automate that to come out of the print view too. So multiple options. We can kind of configure what you feel is best.
And Mia asks, where do we send our request for pricing? So back to that QR screen. If you go to that, I'll just share it really quick. You have more. If you scan this with your smartphone, you'll be taken to our website where the contact us button is that sends to our email, which is contact@revize.com. That would be the place to go to. Let me check the time. So we have a couple of minutes left until 2:30, the end of the webinar. So if you have any other questions, now's the time to ask them.
Real quick, I think Izetta asked, currently we live stream and save the videos to our site. So yeah, as long as we can pull the live stream in, and it's from a reputable, usually it's YouTube or Vimeo or something like that, we should be able to pull it in automatically and have it ready to go right there on your site. As I also showed earlier, you can put it directly in that calendar, either the video feed or the link to the video too. So. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Well, I think that maybe looks like it completes the questions. Thank you all for joining. As I mentioned earlier, we're super excited to launch this. It's been a long time coming. We kind of resisted a little bit for a couple years until we knew we were able to make one that was super user friendly. And so I personally am very excited to get it out there and get the Revize client base using it. So certainly contact us if you have any questions. And Dani, any final words of wisdom for?
No, thank you so much for attending this webinar. And again, revize.com is the place to find out some more information, as well as that QR code with our link tree. Other than that, have a fabulous day.
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.